Good afternoon, everybody. This is William DeVogue, and I'm going to be this is my presentation on the job safety analysis memo that we worked on this week regarding the ceiling grid replacement process for the BYU campus building. For starters, we're going to review the project scope and the field conditions. So this is going to be the basis for any project, really. That's what I've designed this to be sort of associated. So I know field conditions might be pretty straightforward simply because we're located on campus. But I think it's important to get in the habit of still reviewing the scope and the field conditions just for the sake of when a situation might come up where those field conditions do vary. There's the purpose of job safety analysis. That's why we're doing this and what it is we're hoping to accomplish through it. And then the work completed in occupied corridors. This is kind of a big deal because this project was supposed to take place while these hallways were still actively being used, which presented a couple challenges, which we will again talk about our mitigation processes through that. So some of the insight that we initially gained is some pre-task planning is really important. This includes things such as working on active corridors. These sorts of things require a lot of planning. So there's class schedules we need to work around to make sure that we're not going to be performing critical work during a time where traffic is going to be high. This is just reduces the chance of someone's falling or getting hurt or material slipping and hitting someone who might be walking by. This could include things like the other risks, which are the debris, limited mobility, and especially electrical hazards. Just with the ceiling and there being light fixtures involved and that sort of thing. However, we introduced briefly the lockout tagout procedures and having systems and grids shut down accordingly so that there's no risk for electrical hazards, and then even then encouraging workers to use rubber or insulated gloves for the duration of work just to maintain a better to reduce the risk of electrical shock. Then we also have the maintaining egress routes and communication. This again is similar to what I mentioned before, where this is involved just a lot of mostly talking to people and making sure that access was not going to be cut off for certain people and schedules were going to be flexible according to classes and wouldn't conflict with students. And temporary lighting is also a big part of this, just because if we're taking the lights out, we don't want the hallway to be dark in order to maintain code and then also keep the construction and the work site as safe as possible for everyone involved, both students and employees alike. So using the JSA outside of safety had a couple points that I wanted to make. This include allowing us to have a structured breakdown of tasks. This is useful for everything. So not only just for the safety aspect, but this also is helpful just for even superintendents and foremen who are trying to make planners for the day and trying to coordinate appropriately with people. And it helps reveal hidden constraints and project risks is by going in before we even start the work and doing an analysis of the steps and safety which we need to take and going in with a mindset of finding risks that might cause problems for us later on. This allows us to essentially, in some cases, reveal issues before they even happen, which again helps not take as many chunks out of our contingency and helps us make an overall higher profit for the project. The JSA is also proven useful for project scheduling. It helps us break down activities into smaller components. So we're able to take a look at like if we're going to be if we have an activity that just says um, remove the existing ceiling, what are the steps that involve that? What are the risks associated with that? And having that discussion opens our eyes to a better understanding of the project overall. Mapping sequences and dependencies with resources is also helpful. What this does is allow us to see like we don't want to be over ordering and having too much material sitting around. If we understand and have a better idea of how much material is going to be used as time goes on, then we can schedule deliveries such that they're arriving just before they need to be used. This reduces the amount of time that they're sitting on site, which in this situation would not be super dangerous, but if we're in a wet or outdoor conditions, material sitting out for too long can be detrimental to the quality of the material and the overall project itself. And so by being able to schedule this a little bit better, we can reduce the chance of that. And this flows into just the schedule accuracy and conflict detection as well. Just by better understanding our activities themselves, when we schedule them, we'll be able to know what their durations and possible conflicts need to be, and we can figure them out early so that they don't cause problems out in the field. This also includes effects for quality control. So there's going to be having step-by-step analysis identifies quality control checkpoints. This means things such as by having a good analysis of what these items need to be, we can understand when is something going to be covered up, right? Making sure we're doing quality control checkpoints prior to things being covered, and then proactive quality rather than reactive fixes. If we're able to see things before changes might happen, or before the inspectors come out and maybe give us a no for a certain inspection, this lets us change things prior to that, which increases our schedule efficiency and allows us to do more work in less time, which keeps us floating and gives us a better profit margin. And overall, the benefit of these JSAs is they help manage our safety and our planning and communication, as kind of what I've just explained. And then they're also useful beyond the safety. I've talked about how this impacts our schedules and even our quality controls, in terms of primarily catching problems early and before they happen, which makes us more professional, makes us ready to catch things, and we're not caught off guard. And then thorough analysis leads to predictable project outcomes. This is kind of what I've just been detailing, where we've already been talking about this in the sense that if we've already had the discussion, we've already had detailed analysis of activities and of our schedule and of material deliveries, we just have a better understanding of the project overall. And this allows us to perform better, and this allows us to complete the project in a better manner. Thank you for your time.